Good evening, everybody. Welcome to all our friends who are online and, of course, all who are here in attendance and physical presence. My name is Nayaswami Aditya, and first of all, happy Thanksgiving. Let us now listen to the words of Master and Swamiji. I'll be reading a prayer from Whispers from Eternity by Yogananda ji, and then a letter Swami Kriyananda wrote many years ago. This one is called I want to pour the scent of gratefulness at thy feet, by Master. The doomsday clouds of inevitably tragic events thundered and poured down sheets of suffering on my life. My courage almost drowned in fear as a million difficulties rose up to destroy me. Only by clinging fast to thee did I survive. Now, when the cannons of uncertainty boom before me, and the shells of calumny, persecution, and fierce opposition fall rain like around me, I am ever protected in the impregnable fortress of thy love. I am so grateful to thee. When the light of good fortune dawns again, as it must always, following every hard night of struggles, it is easy to smile welcomingly at the pleasing sunrise of thy grace. During dark nights of misfortune, however, I find it even sweeter now to offer thee the flowers of my appreciation for being always there protecting me. I offer all my gratitude at thy feet of deep inner communion. Receive me, my eternal beloved, in sacred silence. And this is a 1.5-page letter written in 1994 by Swami Kriyananda ji, November 23rd. And Swami used to write the date in Dwapara Yoga years. So, as you'll remember from the teachings, Dwapara Yoga started in 1699. And so this may have been actually in 1993 that way. Swami writes 294 Dwapara. Dear friends, tomorrow is Thanksgiving Day. For those of you who live outside the United States of America, Thanksgiving Day started centuries ago after the Pilgrim Fathers' first year on this continent. Tradition sanctions this as a day when Americans everywhere thank God for all his blessings. We too at Ananda have so many blessings for which to thank him. Our communities and way of life, our friends in God, the opportunity to serve God and to serve him in others. I know that many of us, myself included, thank him daily for the sheer abundance of these blessings. Yet, I have often asked myself, what if he took it all away from me? What if he asked me to serve him, not in these beautiful Sierra foothills among loving friends and peaceful vibrations, but in a slum? Would I still thank him? And my answer to this question is absolutely. Would I thank him as much? Indeed, yes. For things pass, circumstances pass. It isn't things that I thank him for, it's his love. Divine Mother, that is how I prefer to think of God, knows what my needs are. Were she to strip me of everything, she could never strip me of my love and devotion for her, or the firmness of my commitment to serving and seeking her. These things alone, not outward success of any kind, are my truth, my reality. Every night when I go to bed, I give back to God everything I've created and everything I am. Many people in this life have praised me. Shall I thank God for their praise? Praise can become a trap unless I see clearly that nothing I do is by my power. Divine Mother alone is the doer. Again, many people in this life have heaped blame on me. Shall I curse them for it? Certainly not. Rather, I extend my heart's feelings to them in blessing. Well, then, shall I allow their criticisms to affect me? Only if I find truth in the criticisms, a truth I can change, whether in myself or in my work. In this case, I am grateful for their advice and tell them so. Ignominy is something I've had to bear for many years. SRF's ouster of me in 1962 with a harshness I'd never imagined possible, and the subsequent label placed upon me of traitor, Judas, and other charges that are still being repeated to this day. Wrath against me has been like fire tempering steel. In this case, the steel of my determination to live for what I believe and to ignore the demeaning definitions that others try to impose on me. As Paramhansa Yogananda said, under the fire of similar tests, I am what I am before God and my own conscience. Just imagine the test Divine Mother gave me when she led me to purchase land in California. I had sought a haven elsewhere, as far away as the Caribbean islands, Mexico, Lebanon, and India. California was where she led me, conveniently near Los Angeles, for any Ananda dissident who wanted the real story on Kriyananda. I never discouraged them from going. Quite the opposite. After all, SRF is my guru's organization. A friend of Ananda and I were discussing in 1970 the hardships people endure in their lives. It's strange, I said. I always seem to have had it so easy. Easy? She exclaimed, clutching her brow incredulously. Then she proceeded to give the list of tests with which she was familiar in her 1 year's acquaintance with us. Having to earn the money myself to start Ananda, the threat of foreclosure, the destruction of our temple by fire, the dissidents at whom I've hinted above. Well, I said, now that you mention it, I guess there have been a few difficulties. Well, but what do such things matter? Well, I think I'll read the whole letter. It's another couple paragraphs. When our temple burned down that year, I remember visiting a nearby store in the afternoon, and I entered, singing. The proprietress, a French lady, exclaimed, "You're singing?" Why not? I asked. I've lost a temple, but I haven't lost my voice. Oh my goodness, she replied. When our house burnt down, 6 months weeping. But her weeping didn't bring her house back. So why not sing? We have to live anyway. SRF's lawsuit against Ananda continues. I don't see that they stand a chance of winning anything. And just to give the update, after years of that, they didn't win. Rather, the longer they pursue it, the more, so it appears to me, they stand to lose. I am sorry for the image it creates of our Guru's mission, but there really is nothing I or any of us at Ananda can do about it except stand firm by what we believe and give blessings and love in return. These blessings and this love are not posturing to impress others. They well up spontaneously in the hearts of the most generous natured group of people it has ever been my blessing to be associated with. I told our legal team months ago, what can they do in the face of their losses? My guess is they'll go the tried and true route, persecution. Of course, there is nothing true about that route, but it does seem to be the one religions have taken. Will it really come to persecution? I've had my share of it already through the years, and I take it too as Divine Mother's gift to me. For she gives us not only pleasant things, but clear reminders also that this world is imperfect, that it will never give us everything we want. It is a mixture of sand and sugar in equal proportions. Such, quite simply, is the law of Maya, delusion. For every plus, there must always be a minus. For every up, a down. Let us be equally grateful for both. Were it not for the darkness, here, at least in this realm of relativity, the light would be less beautiful. So, this year at Thanksgiving, let us thank Divine Mother not for her gifts, but for that love which gives us the strength to seek her beyond life's ups and downs in eternity. In divine friendship always, Kriyananda. Let us now, friends, as much over there, of course, in that letter, and we will, like they say, we've all gone through our shares of ups and downs, and we go through it breath by breath, day by day. But to know these things, you can just get some water for me, please. Yeah. But it's very good to understand this basic concept that everything is based on duality. And like little children, when they're swinging, we say, push harder, because the desire is to go further and enjoy the swing further. And then you pull harder so I can see everything from above and push harder. But Swami says what you don't see is you have to come back. You're not enjoying half the journey, in the sense, not at least viewing it. And if somebody pushes you any harder, you will just go around the thing. You're going to fall off. And Swami says that, or like I think we all have this. You see, it's inbuilt. You don't think about these things. Remember when we used to cycle as children in some neighborhood, and there are those slopes, and you leave your hand and you're bicycling, and you're like, and then you tell your friend, if only this world only had slopes, only slopes. And then I remember when I said that to my friend, I was in 4th grade or 3rd grade, but then I thought, my goodness, no, coming home would be quite a task, because my home would be up and I would have gone down, 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 down cycling. But at night, I have to go back home. So somewhere inside of us, and now that's a very obvious case, but then it happens on subtle levels, expectations from others, the desire to live long, the desire to enjoy things. And the interesting thing is, at every level, there is enjoyment. But Master was always reminding us, and like Swami is saying that, yes, of course, give thanks to God for the good things. Give thanks to everyone for the good things. To not do that is to not know your manners on one level. But he said, there is the other side of life, which is little unpleasant. And in this case, Kriyananda was saying it was sheer persecution for decades, which many saints. Master said, no one escapes persecution. It is a desire in us to escape it. He said of the 4 disciples who brought the compilation of the Bible is essentially from 4 of Christ's disciples. Master said by 2 of them, they didn't mention persecution. They said, if he who leaves home, father, mother, and such will receive 100-fold more in God. And Master would then say, Christ also said, and persecution. That just because you are good and leaving name and fame and family and ego, you might say. Don't think, oh, now I'm in God's good books. Now I have no. Swami says, well, and persecution. Persecution will still come. Misunderstandings will still come. Two of the greatest souls we all know were Kriyanandaji and Yogananda, and they received it. And so Swami says, if you have that wisdom, then you're not surprised by the mistreatment. That mistreatment is actually good reminders by God that, Aditya, haven't you learnt it already? Are you still disappointed? Are you again going to be disappointed? This is part of the show. How long will you take to get the point? And anyway, so we will go into the verse of the Bhagavad Gita with this letter of Swamiji. But let's watch this beautiful video that Tushar has compiled. And this is of Jyotish and Deviji's time in India. Let's watch it together. All of us over here will turn around. And friends, I hope the sound will work very well for you. Tushar has worked it out. If there's a challenge, just write things in the chat section. Mm-hmm.
First, I want to welcome everyone to the event today. All of our Indian friends, we have people who have traveled a long way to be here today.
We have many dear friends some of whom have traveled to be here today. And we hope we have many new friends who are joining us, and I see some who have come before.
Joy combines just to come to the two of us, so we have to spread our joy among all of you.
From a monastery, no. You can practice Kriya Yoga daily in your life, in the midst of family and job and all of that, and you can find that.
We're very happy, Devi and I, to be here in this land of poets and saints, and in our case, being disciples of a great master who was both a saint and a poet. dissolving of the ego. Master's light, once again, more strong.
Wow, wasn't that beautiful? Big thanks to Tushar for compiling all those pieces and stitching them. What is that? Bhavani also, Ishani, Bhavani, many people who recorded and yeah, editing is quite a job putting things together. Okay, so let's turn around over here. Manjima, why don't you come over here in the front? Pritesh, maybe you can move a little bit over there. Let Manji must sit in the front. And friends, let's then go into the discourse for today from the Bhagavad Gita, which we do every Thursday. Every Thursday. And this is the we do. Yes. We have a little home production. I'll again invite our friends online to turn on their videos. Suddenly screens keep going off. Bring them on, please. And of course, there's a home production by Amya, Neeraj, and Soumya. So stay tuned for that. Once I was doing a class during the pandemic. It was my third batch out of 7 that we did, 8 maybe in the Kriya in the pandemic. And there were 6 students. I don't know, maybe one of those students might even be here. And nobody was turning on the video. And this was when things were purely online. So I said, hey, everybody, good morning. Somebody wrote in the chat, GM. So I said, well, I hope you're doing well. How was last week? And I was good. And by the way, let's start. And start. So anyway, and I said, this is not going anywhere. So I turned off my video and I kept talking. So I said, last week we discussed the history of yoga, the paths of yoga. I said, today we will go into yamas and niyamas. And I said, the subject is a very favorite one of mine, and let's talk about it. And somebody says, sir, please, before you go further, I want to let you know, we can't see you. I said, I know. And I said, you will not see me for the next 3 hours because I'm not seeing you. And I was basically telling my friends, we got to see each other. And I don't know why in work, and because people are busy, maybe, I don't know, the video thing has gone, but I still treat it as if you're sitting in a room with a mask. And I think, why wouldn't I see your wonderful smile, your eyes? Master has so many prayers and poems where he says, let God shine through my smile, shine through my face. He said, your face, he said, those are gifts of God. And he said, you bless everybody. That's called a darshan, you may say, but when we see each other. So I really do invite you to turn on your video in that spirit. But if you cannot, I understand. But I don't think I'll stop for the rest of my life. Now, this is the verse, chapter 17, verse 25. And this, interestingly, is a very beautiful verse. And there is a statement over here in the explanation, which was shared in Kriya, International Kriya Gathering we had in Italy in 2018. And it has stayed with me. And today when I was preparing for the satsang, I looked at that. I said, oh, wow, of course. I was reading the content and I said, this must be 1725. And I looked, it's 1725, chapter 17, verse 25, because it has a very beautiful, you might say. And now, Tushar, you can zoom in and out a little bit and see, I'm guiding my cameraman, Tushar, over here, zoom in, zoom out, because it gives us orientation. And feel free to zoom on others, especially if somebody's sleeping over here, zoom in on them. So here we go. Chapter 17, verse 25. Sri Krishna says, those who seek spiritual liberation should perform all the rites of ego sacrifice, true yagya, gift giving, sharing with others whatever blessings one receives, and the sattvic austerities, while concentrated on the higher self, the Christ consciousness, or Kutastha Chaitanya, which is here in oneself, without any wish for specific results. Now that sums it up on one level. The Bhagavad Gita often gives the message of, welcome Vasant, see, this is the joy of having the camera open. I can see who's coming, who's sitting, and very nice to see you. So, yeah, hello. So I was saying that in this verse, Sri Krishna is saying those who seek liberation, which we all do. Swamiji's passing day is called the Moksha Day. One time, Swami Kriranandaji, Christmas was coming, and Swami Kriranand, just like that play we saw briefly in the video that Mumbai put up, and somebody said, oh, let's perform a few stories from the life of Christ. And so Swamiji, they put on a wig on him. He grew his beard for that, and he enacted. And many people later wrote to Yogananda ji, and they said, oh, it was a beautiful, blessed evening. And especially they said, oh, Walter looked just like Christ. And so when Master met Swamiji, he said, oh, many people moved by your performance and they thought you looked like Christ. And Swami said to Master, oh, Master, I would much rather be like Christ than look like him. And Master said, that will come. And Master said, not at that time, but many other times, he said, you will find God in this lifetime. You will not fall due to ego. When Master made Swamiji a minister, when he asked him to do public events in his place. And then simultaneously, Master was talking about many teachers and ministers. And he said, oh, the teaching is going here, it's going there. And this editing is not what I said. And one day Swami said, that's exactly why I don't want to be a minister. When Master said, so-and-so is falling due to ego. And Swami said, that's exactly why I don't want to be a minister. And Master said, you will never fall due to the ego. And the point is that when one reaches this point in one's soul evolution where you realize that money, people, things, none of that is making me happy. Places are not making me happy. And it's not like you're a sad person. I was once representing Ananda in the Kolkata book fair many years ago. And it was a 5-day event or 3-day event. And there were stalls next to us, left and right and front. And there were some teenage college students who were doing another program right in the next stall. And so when you're spending 5 days together, people come and see what's your offering, what is our book, what do you do? And so I said, I teach yoga, meditation. These are our guru's teachings. And she said, one of them, really cute little teenager, she said, oh, sir, what do you do when all these depressed people come to you? I said, what? I said, no, not everybody's depressed. They are perhaps disappointed, dejected, because I said, we do seek things from life. And it's like happiness is a little bit like holding on to air. I said, it comes and it goes. And I said, when you see that enough number of times, I said, you say, wait a minute, what's going on? When will I always be happy? When will that happen? And so Kriyananda ji was at that point in his life where he said he was from a wealthy family, staying in a wonderful place in New York, excellent education from an Ivy League university. Parents, he says there was so much harmony at home. It was not like a broken marriage or anything. He said the only argument he heard in his entire life between his parents was once, and it was an argument, if you can call it that, on what kind of table mat to put before guests were coming. Mom was insisting on one kind and the father was suggesting another. And Swami says, that's the only argument I ever heard in my life. He had talents of writing, singing. He was an excellent dancer, a playwright, even while he was in college. But he said, I was not happy. And you can go back that, and just to share, thousands of years ago, a reading of his, the Bhrigu Samhita, he said that Kriyananda had attained Shanti in his vrittis, which Kriyananda ji interpreted. He said he thought that meant Sabikalp Samadhi. During the time of Mahabharata, he was a king in North India of a very small kingdom, and he retired into the forest when the Mahabharata war came. And it said that he didn't want to participate. He gave the kingdom to his son and he retired into the forest to basically find God. And he said that he attained Shanti in his vrittis, but much journey still remained. But Master told Swamiji, everything has balanced out now. You will find God in this life. However, Master said, everything in this life, including your death, will have to be a sacrifice to God. I mean, think about it. And it seems painful sometimes. But for Kriyananda ji, he was always joyful. He was looking forward to it, which is why many close disciples, of course, it was our loss that Swami left his body, but almost instantly, everybody was very happy because this soul's deep, long journey, yearning for joy, for fulfillment, to meet his guru, to meet Divine Mother was finally it, because Master's word, a great saint's word, a guru's word cannot be falsified. It is said in the Bhagavad Gita. So if Master said God will come to you at the end of your life, we firmly believe he did come, and we call it the Moksha Day. So in this verse, Sri Krishna is saying, for those who are seeking moksha, liberation, they should perform all activities, all offering, all service from this point of view that you are renouncing the ego. Now, Kriyanandaji goes in some detail in the explanation over there. He says, let's say you're meditating. And in the beginning, we do say, we actually put it in the flyer, learn how to meditate, to develop concentration, to develop peace of mind, to find freedom from stress. And then benefits come. People say, my sleep is better, my health is better, my joy is good, my irritability is low, and so many hundreds of gifts come. But Kriyanandaji says, the meaning of this verse is, keep your focus on doing rather than what you are reaping, what's coming. Why has the joy stopped? Don't. Swami says it's good to have the discrimination, because maybe your posture is not right, or you're not doing enough kriya, or like Master told to his second most advanced, about his second most advanced disciple, Master said he's not coming to satsangs. He's not coming to see me, and he's bogging down. He does not know why he's bogging down, but he said the reason is he's trying to do it all by himself at a distance. And he said he will find out that it doesn't work that way. So yes, it is good to know. On the other hand, Master's most advanced disciple, Rajarsi Janakananda, he saw the spiritual eye and the inner light from the very beginning, since he met Master. But he said towards the very end of his life, one day there was complete darkness. Now imagine, we mostly see darkness and rarely the light, most of us. But Rajarsi was seeing the light always, and suddenly it turned dark. And he thought, what happened? Next day, morning and evening, darkness, and a few more days. And for a moment, this thought came, my meditation is not working. And Rajarsi ji said, this is discrimination, Vivek. He said, well, what's my option? I will keep doing what Master has told me to do. And then he saw the light again. And he said it was very small. And he kept concentrating on that light day after day after day. He said it became big till, in his own words, he said he entered Nirvikalp Samadhi, the final state from which you do not fall. Now you see, even the most advanced disciple was tested. This was one of his tests. Master said, no one escapes persecution. But we have to understand, if a gift is coming, it can be taken away. Kriyanandaji's physical health was taken away. In that letter, he says, name was taken away, insults were heaped on him, false accusations, unnecessary lawsuits for which he had to take loans for decades to fight them, to prove that, this is not right. But he did it calmly, with love. And he says, that was a gift from God, because it showed me that your very own people can turn against you. You see, everybody, till they become a saint, Sri Yukteswarji said, are operating under the influence of the ego. So the ego has a limit by its very nature. It is beyond the ego that we merge in God. So Sri Yukteswar said, human conduct, human behavior is ever unreliable unless anchored in the divine. To the degree we are in God, and Kriyananda was in God to a very high degree, which is why he could love his enemies. and say, oh, Divine Mother, thank you for the good, but especially thank you this year. And that year he was writing was the second year of the lawsuit. Thank you, Divine Mother, for reminding me this is not my home. I want you, Mother, not your gifts. And so this verse is saying, in meditation, in service, wherever a desire comes, now in the big, give it up. Now in the beginning, the challenge with the evolution of the ego is, in the beginning, desires, name, fame, praises, they actually sound wonderful. Ananda ji said one of the most universal things people want is a hike in the salary because it just seems wonderful. Let's face it, who likes to lose a job? Who likes to go down? Master said it's very hard to be poor once you have been rich. But on the other hand, Swami says every night, and see again, Master lost his temples. Swami lost his community and temple to fire. And instead of saying, oh, this was bad karma, they said, this is very good karma. Divine Mother is telling me, don't be settled over here. Don't be satisfied with this. Don't be too happy in this seemingly astral home. I can take it with one jerk of an earthquake. I can take it with one jerk of a fire. I can take your relationships and your friendships away with one little misunderstanding. I can take your life away. Swami says people go for a shower. You never know. You slip, you die. You hit the floor, you die. You go to sleep, you don't wake up. You leave home, an accident happens. You're simply meditating or doing something and a heart attack may happen. And you say, why are we talking about these things? To remind ourselves that unless we are in God, we will get things, but we will lose them. And Sri Krishna says, wise is he who holds on to me. I want to read these last two paragraphs. I've done a lot of reading today, but they are just so beautiful. And remember, friends, of late I've been suggesting something which is very obvious, but required reminders to myself, hence I'm sharing to you too. This theme, let's say, of gratitude and thanksgiving this week, make the entire week a study of this, or a few days at least, because these are very deep teachings. First, to understand why we should be like that. Secondly, how to apply it to keep moving further. So this is what Swami writes in the explanation. Not to desire results does not mean not to desire enlightenment. A truly sattvic person needs hardly be advised not to seek selfish fruits from his spiritual actions. He may need to be counseled, however, not to seek specific results, even spiritual ones, from his spiritual practices. Master once told Dr. Lewis, you should not expect even peace or bliss to come in meditation. Not to say don't be those things, but don't sit with that attitude that what will I get out of it? I'm giving money, what will I get out of it? I'm giving so many hours of seva, what will I get out of it? I did this event, what came out of it? Analyze a little bit, discriminate, try to do better things, but don't be hung up on those expectations. Many meditators, for example, hope for visions and phenomena. Many who share even truth and inspiration want others to be helped instead of leaving the results in God's hands. Now, that's the statement that had touched me years ago in Italy. Is it not true? You give somebody money, you help somebody, and you want them to be helped. Now, it's a very fine line. You want to help, but will the person receive the help? To what degree? What will they do with even the good karma they get? Many disciples had the good karma of being with Master. And Master said they started running backwards. They would leave the path in many ways. On the other hand, of course, many built on that good karma and kept moving further. And Swami writes, and many, they want some outward manifestation of the Guru's pleasure or love for them. Many who practice austerities want, he writes quite rightly and understandably, to see some inner consequences of those practices. all these desired results do come in time to the sincere seeker, but giving up attachment to those results keeps one focus on doing rather than on reaping benefits from his practices, and therefore on continued effort until there is no sense of doing, doer, and done, because one has merged in the infinite. And so, friends, as frankly challenging as these teachings seem, as we live in times which is not only of a skeptical nature, it is very restless. It's almost like, okay, I see the target. Well, now we'll put you on a dancing board, moving board, and keep shooting at that target. And now we're going to increase the speed of that board. And it's almost like Arjun's test with the fish. Don't look at the fish, it'll keep moving. You look down and shoot. Now, Master was Arjuna, and he did it. So, as troublesome, as challenging, as Master said in that beginning poem I read, even if a million worries are howling, difficulties are rising up to threaten me, to bring fear into me, by clinging to thee, Lord, by being in you, by being in your presence, by being in your consciousness, like Swami said, by loving you, God, more than any of your gifts, I will cross these challenges. I will understand why the good came to prod you further, and why the challenges come to remind us not to stop over here. So on this day of Thanksgiving, let us remind ourselves the limitation of the ego, frankly, the uncertainty of our feelings. When you like somebody, you say, oh, we are best friends. In childhood, we used to play this game, Batti and Katti. When you are happy that day, you say, hey, we are friends, Batti. And it's like, yeah, our friendship will always last. We will never forget each other. Well, next day, you're not playing together because it's Katti time. You don't like each other. And this happens on many, many levels. It happens between us and God also. We think, God, you've forgotten me. Imagine how hurtful it would feel to him. How can God, who is compassion itself, love itself? And he said, well, Aditya, go back to the Bhagavad Gita. You forgot my teaching. You forgot my nature of communication. Let's get it straight so that we can keep moving in him. So, as I said earlier, and as Swami's letters were saying, on this day of Thanksgiving, let us think of God, thank God, yes, for the good, but especially for his love, especially for the teachings, especially the message Master brought to us. And remember this, friends, if somebody asks you, what does Ananda do? What do you really do? Well, that's what we keep. We keep the flame of God realization burning. We are not here to create a paradise in this world. That will come. If you live a good life, you inherently create a place of good vibration. Yesterday, I was just in and out of the office just for a few moments, and I heard one of the sweetest things. There was a stranger, and Sanjay, who is visiting to serve us. He's been serving for the last 1 month as a volunteer in Pune. He was giving them a tour, and they were standing between our kitchen side and the office side, and just at the door of the office. And I was going towards the kitchen, and I heard this first time comer say, one step I have put into this office and I can already feel the vibrations. He said, such beautiful vibrations are over here. That is our gift. We will create a paradise. That ends up happening, as Swami said. But remember, the goal is to bring God into us. God then acts through us. And we all, as brothers and sisters, keep moving towards that light. I'll close by sharing this. Because Master said, God tests you through your relatives many times. So once a friend told me, what about your mother? You go home once a year for a few days only. What about your mother? And I asked this friend very gently. I said, now tell me, what about Divine Mother? I said, I left Divine Mother a long time ago. Long time ago. And so did my mother. And I said, so did you. I said, why aren't we talking about Divine Mother's heart? Divine Mother is waiting for each of us. We need to always keep an eye on her and say, Mother, you have sent me here. You want me to do your will. The moment you want me to come back, Master used to say, in a moment, I can leave everything and never turn back. This is God's creation. I do what God tells me to do. Let's keep that attitude, and Master would be very proud of us. Jai God. Now, if we have time, there's a little play in the offing. And special now, you know the pattern in Pune. Special satsangs go longer. Yes, we said we'll end at 7:30, but I would like to invite Soumya and Neeraj and Ameya for a play which I have not seen because this morning I was away myself. So let us see what they will offer. Do you want to be here with the mic? No, because the online audience is there. So please tell us, what do we create? Then we'll close with an Aarti. Yes. Middle May. Okay. Okay. Please come. No, I'll be the tree.
Changing with the trees. Okay, then I think that was better.
So do explain to people what's happening. Yeah, so very good. Check with others. Oh, Tushar has increased the volume.
Okay, take it. I'll come back here. From here. So this is a little enactment on this story called Pine and the Winter Sparrow. This is actually retold. It's originally a folklore from the American tribe Cherokee, and this is based on their belief about why the pine tree is called an evergreen tree. So we will hear about it from the story now. Bhavani is going to narrate, and we will just enact. Okay. Each morning, Sparrow greeted the Creator with a joyful song. He did so even on the day he injured his wing. But winter is coming, said his family, and you can hardly fly. Don't you worry, he chirped. I'll find a way to carry on. Autumn had come to an end. Sparrow watched as his family flew south without him. Until spring, my loves, farewell. In the passing days, the wintry winds blew fiercer and fiercer. Poor Sparrow shivered and shook, but not Oak. Oak stood tall and still. Excuse me, said Sparrow. Would you kindly shelter me?
No.
I wish to heal my wing and greet my family come spring. Oak huffed and puffed. Then he huffed and puffed some more.
Go look elsewhere.
Finally, he grumbled. Sparrow skipped to Maple. Her leaves shimmered in the sun like a golden shield. Good day, Maple. Tweet, tweet.
Who's that now?
Might you lend me this one branch from now till winter ends?
No. Many other things to do.
Maple,
Visitors coming in winter.
Maple scoffed, and she twisted her trunk the other way. Next, Sparrow hopped towards Elm. Tweet, tweet, tweet. But
now, don't you see I'm meditating? Don't disturb me.
Come, Mr. Effie. Find somewhere else to go.
Deeper into the forest, Sparrow went. He soon came to a row of aspen. Tweet, tweet, sniffle. Yet they all pointed, "Go away."
Go away.
And away he went, cradling his wounded wing. Sparrow hobbled on and on until he hobbled to the very edge of the forest. A flurry of snow drifted down from above. Thoughts of Sparrow's faraway family tugged at his tiny heart. With a deep song of sorrow, Sparrow wept. "What's the matter, little bird?" asked a quiet voice. Sparrow looked up. Sniffle, sniffle, sigh. Pine smiled down. Feeling safe, Sparrow told Pine all his worries. "Well," said Pine, "if you don't mind my sticky branches and my needle-sharp leaves, then all that I am and all that I have is yours." Before Sparrow could reply, Pine scooped him up and placed him high on a branch. "Your wing," they cheered, "it's all better." Spring returned to the forest, and with its return came Sparrow's family. "Your wing," they cheered, "it's all better." "Yes," said Sparrow, "all thanks to Pine. He is my very best friend." Pine beamed. Soon after, the Creator called a council. "Trees of the forest," he spoke, "those of you who have so much shared nothing, but the one who had so little shared everything. Pine, your gift to Sparrow was a gift to me. So you alone will remain green against the snow, ever green, evermore." And that, say the old storytellers, is why all the trees lose their leaves each winter, all except pine. Beautiful story, beautiful enactment. Thank you, Soumya, Neeraj, and Ameya. Thank you.
And thank you, Aditya ji. This is his find, actually. Thanks to him for this book, which we found from his library at school. And we are reading it together at school with our students.